Okay, this is an announcement for Wargames and Wargamers, a weekly open public Wargamers Wargaming video chat. All you need is one link, https://appear.in/big board, one word. So next Saturday will be the next session, the 19th of December, always 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at https://appear.in/big board. So we had our video chat yesterday, December 12th, 2015. It was well attended, and it was a packed discussion from beginning to end. A lot of fun, a ton of enthusiasm going on. Just a great experience. By way of, I guess, recap, um, right off the bat, I was asked what recent gaming I've been doing, which is always a great way to begin any Wargamers discussion, as far as I'm concerned. And I said that I had been actually spending the entire day, starting a couple hours before sunup, play testing a small unit combat action rule set that I've been kicking around. And then the discussion pretty much went from there, and we were talking about all different sorts of game mechanics and design ideas and design approaches for small unit combat action hex encounter games. I guess the only thing I'll say about that is that this rule set that I've been kicking around, I've actually been video recording as much as I can about the whole process, which is kind of funny. It starts out, I literally started by grabbing a hex map from one game, grabbing the counters from another game, and I just started, turned on the video recorder, and I just started pushing counters around and saying, what would happen here? What would happen here if this happened? What would happen here if that happened? How might this be handled? It all comes from a background of, like, we have such a great array of small unit combat action games and systems and series out there. It's just great. They all provide interesting, entertaining, memorable experiences, and it's just fun to explore all these different experiences provided by all these different games out there. And so on top of that, I think sometime, or I did think, starting just a couple years ago, kicking around ideas, jotting down notes, I thought, if I were king for a day, what would my game look like? If I were king for a day, would my perfect small unit combat action game, would it look like Band of Heroes? Would it look like ATS? Would it look like ASL? And anyways, it all started from there. So, but anyways, the most important thing is really, all I can say is it doesn't really matter what I have to say about it. I'm video recording as much as I can of the process, and I'm surprised at how far I've gotten. I know making the videos as I go is a huge motivator, actually. But it's also important to actually, which is why I forced myself early on, get my hands on counters, push them around, and work through a lot of different kind of basics, foundation concepts. I'm showing this book. This is a cover of a book called Small Unit Leadership, Common Sense Approach, written by Colonel Dandridge Malone. First of all, I'll say that this was my, so-called Bible when I was a platoon leader. So it does have sentimental meaning for me. But I'm showing it because this is the foundation of where I'm thinking of I'm trying to incorporate the ideas of this book into the soft factors, the basic model or engine for handling the soft factors in this small unit combat action game. So It's interesting because on the cover of this book here, they have a quote from S.L.A. Marshall. Quote, "Platoons seal the fate of armies." And I just, first of all, when I was a platoon leader, that quote meant a huge amount to me. But also, platoons seal the fate of armies. And so the rule set that I've just been kicking around and frankly having a blast kicking around is based on the idea of what is really happening down there in that platoon. The building blocks of a platoon today is not the squad, it's the fire team. It's the fire team and the crew. And so the basic premise of the rule set I've been kicking around is fire team crew based, and what actually goes on at that level. But anyways, enough of that. I video record everything I can about that design process. It's kind of it's a deliberate process of making the or it's a deliberate decision of making a design process as public as I can. I'm kind of trying to shine a public light on just one particular design process. I think it's interesting. And that's kind of an experiment within an experiment. I mean, all these war game videos I started 7 months ago has been one grand experiment. Well, it's also been a grand experience, but it's been a grand experiment, and even within that, there's the experiment of, you know, what would a design process look like if it was made as public as possible. You know, so all the different ideas and permutations and adjustments are there captured on video as much as I can. So anyways, next week, you know, we're going into holiday season. I thought we'd lighten it up a bit and talk about, you know, there is a discussion thread on Board Game Geek, top 5 games, your top 5 games, and talk about the top 5 games. How do you determine your top 5 games? Do you go with games you've played the most? Do you go by games that you have the most, that you can find the most opponents for, and so therefore probably play the most often? Do you go by most memorable, or do you go from some type of perceived quality, some type of criteria of quality, or some other criteria? On my list reads somewhat like the nearly forgotten. In no particular order, my top 5 is MBA, Main Battle Area by Omega. Virtually Forgotten. I am determined. I will get this on video. I think it deserves to have a public showing. I think it's that good. The Sands of War. I have made videos of this. Okay, so, oh, I'm sorry, my overriding criteria just seems to be most memorable. What games do I come back to again and again because of memorable experiences? So because of that, it's not very hard. Not hard criteria here. Some of this is sentimental. Sands of War is one of those that has sentimental value. It's one of the early Hex Encounter war games that I kind of got through and kind of got my head around just a few years ago, and so and I keep coming back to it. I find more and more in the play experience of the Sands of War every time I go back to it. Another one, virtually forgotten, is Black Sea Fleet by Just Plain Wargames. I think, well, it sure looks like a prototype to the Great War at Sea series. And again, the Great War at Sea series. I've played Jutland. Great experience, loved it. But Black Sea Fleet, I encountered Black Sea Fleet first, and so it kind of has that memorability factor for me. When I encountered Black Sea Fleet, I was like, wow, this is a totally different gaming experience for me. You know, understand I'm a novice, so there was that memorability factor and that wow factor. Black Sea Fleet, Just Plain Wargames, virtually forgotten. Then, of course, not forgotten, definitely not in the category of forgotten, is the Tactical Combat series, and especially A Frozen Hell. by the gamers. I've got videos on it, just a 10 on the memorability factor. Is memorability even a word? I don't know. And then there's Royalists and Roundheads 3. This again is largely sentimental. One of the first games that I struggled through and put a bunch of figurative blood, sweat, and tears into figuring out that game. But once I finally figured it out, I felt like I had a special connection to it. No great game whatsoever, nothing earth-shattering whatsoever, largely sentimental for me, but it is very, very memorable for me. So that's Royalists and Roundheads 3 by 3W. So next week, again, next Saturday, 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, that's the 19th of December, let's talk about our top 5 games, how we arrive at them, what do we think. So join in, https://appear.in/big-board, one word. You do not need a user ID. You do not need to download any launcher, software, anything. No PIN, no password. All you need is that link. And when you use that link, you will go right into the public room. So be prepared to sit back, listen, enjoy yourself, have a good time, and build some wargaming community.